one was the one I liked last time? Some of his music sounds like got like a little hub going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
This one matches you. You said yeah, and it just went with it.
I love it. Yes. Smooth.
Man. So let's see, and I'm gonna get this going, and here. The thing about Facebook is their interface is kind of different from any other streaming platform. Like, you go live inside of whatever software you're using, and then you go over to their platform, and it's a studio, creator studio, and then you press live in there. It's a little bit more complex than
Yeah.
than I'd like it to be, but make do, where you fit,
Make it.
that kind of
Well,
thing. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. I'm gonna do that. So now we're live on Facebook. We are live on. Let me make sure that the bot is off so it's not giving us a bunch of spam. But the logistics, oh my gosh, crazy. Hi, KJ. Hi, everyone. Can you type a 1 in the chat? Tell me if you can hear me or not. And I think the Restream bot is in here. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. And so if you notice where the chat is, you'll be able to, well, now you can see that it's spamming. So, gotta turn it off. It's like, give me a break. There we go. Alrighty, that should stop that. Perfect. Alrighty, because it's like feeding one to one side, feeding one to another side. We're gonna get all this started in just a moment, guys. Just making sure that everybody knows we're here, we're live, we're ready. And I am not playing Apex. And there we go. Hi, M. And we're just gonna clear that real quick. Boom. There we go. And so we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And there we go. I'm gonna pull that over here. And pull you guys over here. That's perfect, just in case. Hi, Keelan. You ready to cut your cameras on? I'm gonna let it be what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. Here we go. Come on, don't be shy.
We here.
Perfect. Oh, you went and put a jacket on. That's what you went to go do. You are not slick. Okay, you are not slick. Hi, M. What's up, y'all? Hi, LT. Hi, Pat. Hey. Okay, so hi, John.
Hello there.
Thicky thick. What's up? So we have our amazing guest, WaveCapJohnny, which I don't know you as WaveCapJohnny, by the way.
No.
So I
This
don't
is
think that's fair.
well, I mean, you becoming acquainted. You becoming acquainted now. How about that?
Yeah, it's a different vibe. It's different than what I'm used to you doing. I'm so used to your beatbox, your roots. You know what I'm saying? Of course,
Absolutely.
the voice is never going to go away. That's been you since you were probably like 5. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean that that's a part of you. Like
Yeah.
how did it feel? I'm gonna just jump into that. How did it feel to
Yeah.
just be like, dang, I need to rebrand?
It was interesting. It was also exciting. There was a high level of frustration, as most creatives probably know, and for those that are unfamiliar, as a creative or somebody that creates art, an artist, whatever however people want to be considered, you go through different levels. I think most of the time, consumers believe that you just wake up one day and you're automatically great and everybody loves you. When really it's this roller coaster of creating ideas, being excited about those ideas, bringing them to life, them not formulating the way that you want them to, your family and friends and supporters not accepting it or receiving it the way you want them to, you trying to strive through all of the disappointment and discouragement, your close relatives and loved ones telling you that you should be doing something else. So it was really just this constant reminder, for me at least, that I wasn't good enough. That's the space that I was in. And then it got to a point to where it was like, no, I'm dope. And I know that I'm dope. But then it's cyclical, because I went back into this stage of, you know what, I'm just gonna give it all up because it's just too much. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And then here comes the rebranding. And the epiphany that I had was that as Foz, I was pretty overwhelmed. If you went to any of my pages or seen any of my work, you either knew me for one thing, that was it. You really knew me for one thing, whether it was the voice, the radio, beatboxing, acting, podcast, whatever it was. You only knew me for that one thing, and then everything else you just kind of pushed to the side, or it didn't really get support.
Mm,
And I understood that I was overwhelming my audience by just putting everything that I did in the atmosphere.
mm.
Whereas WaveCap Johnny can encompass all of those things, kind of package it perfectly to give to the masses, to where they're able to absorb it, receive it, and hopefully transforms their lives. So,
I like that.
yeah,
That resonated so much for me. I could tell you a lot of creatives did have a similar experience, and what you're describing is imposter syndrome when it came to like your family
yeah,
input and how they felt about you
yeah,
and where you were mentally, emotionally. Like how can you compensate for the person you grew up as John, if you don't mind, you
absolutely.
know,
Oh my,
as John,
yeah,
birth on piece of paper,
right,
government name,
yeah,
all of that,
yeah,
and being able to differentiate that one, your family and friends are not your target market. It's not that you don't care about their opinions, it's just you can't care about their opinions. You're not allowed to at that point. Once you get to a point where you're like, this is what I want to do, and they're telling you that's not a real job, I'm a real boy. you know, it that's exactly what it is. And so many creatives end up going through that and not having the proper outlets or the proper people in their life to tell them, no, what you're doing is fine, you're okay. Me and
Yeah.
Sparkle just had a conversation earlier
Hmm.
with our team about that very thing. It's okay for you not to know what you're going to do, what your next move is, but what's not okay is you doubting that, whatever God put in you. You can't,
Absolutely.
don't doubt that God is God. He's always going to make sure that what you have in your path is going to be in alignment with who you are.
Absolutely. And
So,
it's a beautiful thing. One of the analogies that I would constantly give to other people and had to learn to absorb for myself is the butterfly, the caterpillar, right? To where caterpillar is has known this life to just crawl and sometimes be prey for other animals, and then goes through this transformation. It literally transmutes to where it goes into a space that is unfamiliar, it's dark, it's confusing, but once it gets through this struggle, it becomes something that is considered beautiful. It's now having to get accustomed to a new form of living, because now I'm no longer just crawling. Now I'm flying, and I'm considered something different and brand new. And so it's the
right.
same thing with our lives as humans, especially as creatives, where we have this idea. It's in the caterpillar stage. We need to go through that darkness, that confusion, that struggle, to understand that once we get past that, it's in the
Right.
cosmic order for us to be beautiful and be the butterfly that we are.
Right, right. And that's where you start to see that metamorphosis, and you
Absolutely.
start to see the adaptation, because depending on your environment, a butterfly's wings are completely depending on that environment. If you
Absolutely.
have to mimic an owl or mimic whatever is in your environment, whatever is on your plate, whatever is coming your way, do you
Yeah.
feel like thank you, in those seasons, as you were changing who you were and you were adapting to everything that was being thrown at you, you're over there like trying to duck and dodge. Ooh, why did all I could see was never mind. I'm just gonna leave it alone. It was the dance for me in my head, and I
Was
could
it
see little
the?
Kim.
I was.
It was the little Kim and everything. Like that's just, that's it. That's
Yeah.
all I could see. That's all I could see.
You know,
So,
I feel for me, the ducking and dodging came from me being who I truly am, and going back to the imposter syndrome, right? So growing up with a family that was very Orthodox, conservative Christian, right? Dad being a pastor,
same.
rest in peace. And, you know, growing up and still kind of living according to that conditioning, it took me to understand who I was to be able to become who I am, which was always me. It's like, once this WaveCapJohnny character came to life, having conversations with friends and family, my cousin, who's my manager, shout out to Organic Blackberry, uh, the conversation that we had was WaveCapJohnny has always existed, you
Right.
as a philosophy, as like more than just a person, as a mentality, always existed. It just needed to take form, and I needed to give it life. I needed to allow him to thrive and prosper, and to put that energy into who I truly am. So yeah, although there is, I do find that there is a separation between John Foss and WaveCapJohnny. I feel like they are the Holy Trinity. They are all one of the same source, you know.
They're still you. They're
It's-
still you.
But it was, I think, the transformation was really an acceptance of me being not only an adult but a creative. So the birth of WaveCapJohnny was, I got a gig working with ESPN, and it was a collaboration with several great friends of mine. Shout out to Janine Horgan, my boy, Musical Mammal Gabe, and Joshua Silverstein. all incredible beatboxers. We got booked for this gig with J-Rock, beatboxing behind him for his song "Win" for the NCAA football tournament championship. Actually, the semis that they played again for the championship back in 2019. And when you go to do gigs, they ask you to bring clothes and everything. And I went in my closet and I didn't have anything. My closet was complete trash. And it caused me to go and revamp my whole closet. And I went on a shopping spree. And I've always loved fashion. I just never really put energy into it because parents, they discourage you. And, you're supposed to go be a policeman. You're not supposed to be this, right? So I revamped my whole closet and I started to show my face and people didn't recognize me. They didn't recognize the well-dressed, new attitude me. And I kept getting asked the question of like, oh, like, who are you? Who's this? I don't like, who is this? One day I just kind of snapped at it, like, you got the nerve to ask me who I am. I'm WaveCapJohnny. I just so happen to be wearing a wave cap and the rest is future. So yeah.
See, that's the beauty of it is you never really know what's going to drop into your spirit.
Yeah.
And I love that you even just touch more on how your upbringing, like you're supposed to silence and repress yourself a lot of times, and we see when we are fully walking in our purpose,
Yeah.
that we understand that it's really more so a man's way of thinking rather than God's way of thinking. And I'm not going to apologize to y'all for going spiritual or going religious on y'all. This is me and fully 1,000%. So if you don't like it, you ain't got to stay. You know what I'm saying? But with all due respect, it's you asserting yourself in his grace, And one thing I've had to personally learn is when you do not acknowledge the God in you, you are actually disrespecting God, period. Because he gave you that gift. He gave it to you to manifest and to push and to press so you can speak excellence over whatever you put your hands on. And you can be exactly who you are in him, And that's why it becomes larger than life. That's why it becomes bigger than who we are. And you start to exalt, and give him all the praise.
Absolutely.
Because it's already there for you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Like, what of them kind
Don't
of
worry about
things?
sweetheart.
Exactly. So as you started to develop WaveCapJohnny more, do you feel like you have now found more of a niche market for you? Apparently, I can't speak today, but a niche market for yourself, like.
I feel like it's still developing. I feel that I'm still learning every day as I create and come across people. The irony in all of this is that the character that is WaveCapJohnny started off as pure entertainment. It started off as saying the most outlandish things. For example, somebody had the nerve to ask me who I am. I said, let me tell you something. I'm the one that taught Stevie Wonder how to play his harmonica right side up. I'm WaveCapJohnny, right? Like this ridiculous, outlandish, right? That served as what I learned, a purpose for not just entertainment, but laughter. Because then, the birth of WaveCapJohnny is 2019. And here we are 8 months later going through a pandemic, really a year later, a pandemic strikes and everybody's confined to their homes, but then you're able to resort to social media. And the first thing that pops up on your feed is this guy talking about he dated Maya Angelou, you know what I mean? Or discovered Jay-Z, not the rapper, but the letters J and Z in the Mandarin alphabet. Outlandish, right? Like it's the most like the wildest things that I could think of. It's like I'm gonna say it, because this is who this character is. I just like to have fun. But it slowly started to transition into a healing space, a space for comfort, a space for love, a space for relief, especially during a time when people were dealing with so much grief and suppression. You know what I mean? Like we weren't able to go out. Lord knows how many people really got sunlight. It was, a limit and a cap that was put on human interaction, which is extremely vital for our existence. Like it's vital for us to be around and feel that energy from nature, from other individuals to, exchange in my personal belief. So WaveCapJohnny provided that for my audience. And I started to just vibe off of that and say, what, let me continue this. Even moments where I was like, what, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I don't have it in me. Going through my own personal, loss and family. It became even more vital for me to still provide that for my audience. And so I think, if anything, the niche is positivity and love. An audience, the target audience is women, but it isn't limited, to just that. It's literally for everybody. Yeah. At this point, it's creating content that demonstrates my voice, and whatever else is wrapped around that, it is what it is. But let's push the voice. But we're also going to sprinkle in some comedy, some inspiration, some sexiness, some food, and things that are genuinely just me. Things that I experience.
Yeah, and you just kept developing that, and it's a constant development. You've got to. It's just uphill, small hills here and there, peaks and valleys.
Yep.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm
Likewise.
definitely proud of you. I've been watching you develop.
Thank you.
So, yeah. It's like, we're not going to get into all of that. We're going to leave that part alone. All right? We're going to put that, yeah. All right. That's for another day. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing to me about it. What's one of the gentle reminders that you feel like you need for yourself? Because you give women gentle reminders on a regular basis with your calendar, Mr. I'm WaveCapJohnny, and today is, Wednesday, March 23rd.
Yes.
So as you're giving those gentle reminders, what is that one reminder that you need regularly for yourself?
That this is bigger than me. That it isn't about me. I am a part of a greater goal. I'm a part of a masterpiece. I am just a single stroke in a bigger picture. That bigger picture being, those around me. And that my gifts and talents don't belong to me. They belong to the people. That my energy doesn't belong to me. It belongs to those that receive it. These ideas don't belong to me. They're given to me. And that I'm I guess in the grand scheme of it, I'm a vessel. I'm a vessel. I'm one to be used by the cosmic order to be able to help those that receive me. So, yeah, and that helps me to continue pushing.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a go-to self-care as far as physically? Because obviously those are your words of affirmation. You're speaking over yourself. But
Yeah.
what is your physical care tip that you have?
For me personally, or advice that I would give to others?
For you personally, not for anybody else. For you personally.
For me personally, my go-to is a foot bath.
Foot bath.
I give myself
Not a massage,
not
but a foot bath.
but a foot bath. I have one at the house, and usually, like, I try to do it weekly. Just kind of take the time to where I don't do anything but give myself a foot bath with all the salts, essential oils, all of that, and I rest. Um, the feet, because it's where you're grounded, and it's, I believe, it's what carries me. You put one foot in front of the other, you find yourself in progressive motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to just kind of take care of your feet, and cleansing that, and what that allows me to do is it allows me to sit, it allows me to process, and it allows me to renew. Um, and I mean, it's a full thing. There's music playing, or oftentimes I may watch something, and I literally will give myself a pedicure and just kind of make sure that I'm right in the feet area, amongst other things. But it's a mental reset, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's my self care. It's let's just kind of take a moment to be present with ourselves, to reset, and then after this, we can strategize and work on whatever is to come. But right now, let's pause and be present. So I think it's more of a mental thing as much as it is a physical self care.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. The feet are where your body releases a lot of the toxins too.
Yeah,
So you're not only just releasing toxins, physically, but you're releasing them spiritually too,
yeah,
because that is something that you're doing for yourself. You have to, and you definitely don't want your feet looking like you've been tap dancing through salt mines all day. So, one of those kind of things. What
absolutely.
is your favorite menu item? Like what place do you go to? You could just anything in the world. Okay. Unlimited amount. You swipe your card, boom. What are you ordering?
Oh man, this is a tough question for a foodie. I this is tough, and I knew the question was coming, but I would have to say I can only pick one.
You can pick two.
I would say truffle pizza. This is truffle pizza from an amazing restaurant that I frequent, and I would also go with. Uh, I would also go with a plant-based. This is all plant-based, by the way, so I should say vegan truffle pizza, and I would say a plant-based wild cremini mushroom risotto.
So you know you're obligated to bring that for me now,
Yeah,
right?
I got you.
Because I'm on truffles or mushroom, right?
I got yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they're like a fungus in a sense.
They're in that family.
They're
They're
in
the
that family.
fungi of the family.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So okay.
yeah.
So and then yeah,
I
I'm
got
new. Hi, I'm new. Okay. This is something new for me anyway. So
I
yeah,
got
you are now obligated. Hi, Day Day. I
I
gotta make
got
sure I
you.
say hi to Day Day.
Yeah.
So,
Peace and love
uh,
to everybody. Yeah.
uh, ooh, but that's not your go-to meal. Those are your menu items. But what's your go-to meal?
Oh, okay. Go-to meal. Jeez. Go-to meal would be sweet potatoes. I probably have to. Yeah, I probably have to resort back to my evil ways. So, um, soul food. So some sweet potatoes, some plant-based macaroni and cheese, um, some barbecue jackfruit. Yeah, which is phenomenal. What am I missing? Some dressing, like that's my go-to. Yeah,
See, once
yeah,
again, you're gonna have
yeah.
to
Have to pull up with it. I
you're
got
gonna
you.
have to pull up with it.
I got
I'm just saying, like I just recently had jackfruit.
you.
Recently, like literally, like within the last 2 weeks,
Yeah,
recently,
hmm
and I was just like, oh, this is
yeah,
actually kind of good. Not vegan, to
hmm
say the least. I still eat basically everything, but definitely making better decisions and choices as far as like what I'm eating. I do remember when you had started on
Yeah.
your journey and really changing all of that. So the fact that I remember that, we've been friends for a long
Very long time.
time.
Very long time.
A
Absolutely.
very, very long time.
Yeah.
So, man, and I'm very proud of you on your journey.
Thank you.
You never deviated
No.
or strayed from who you were as far as your core. And a lot of people do. And not that it's a bad thing. People always make change such a bad thing, like change is so bad. But there are so many positive changes that you can make for yourself.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you would have did differently when you were younger that you would do now? Like did
Not.
differently that you know now that you would have told your younger self?
Oh, I would save and invest. I would. I found myself to become much more financially literate than I was. Um, and so I would definitely make wiser decisions with my money if I were to go back in time. Yeah,
Oh yeah. And you
yeah,
start calculating how much money you had over the last 20 years, okay? For those of y'all
yeah,
who have been in the workforce for a good minute, take a moment, make yourself
yeah,
sick. Make yourself sick
yeah,
and really look at how much money you have wasted. And I'm saying waste. Like we waste money on bull. So,
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's okay. I think it's vital to understand that it's okay to treat yourself, but
yeah.
when that treating yourself, you know what I mean, is something that's happening every day or far too often, and you're not being conservative with, whether it's your spending of currency, energy, time, whatever it is, it reflects,
That's
it does.
discipline though.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely. And it's good to
discipline.
have a game plan. You gotta have a game plan.
So it becomes therapeutic when you can say no to yourself every once in a while. And it is self-care to take care of yourself. It is self-care to treat yourself, you know. And some people they have the ability to treat themselves every other day. Others is every day, and some it's once a month. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
self-care. You still need to take care of yourself. It's
absolutely.
selfless when you take care and make sure that you're a little bit selfish.
Hmm.
So, because you can't
Absolutely.
take care of anybody else when you're miserable. You can't. So,
That is facts.
you
Yes.
can't.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hmm.
what was your favorite part about life right now? Like in the now?
In the now, what is my favorite part? Learning myself, learning myself spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and deprogramming. That's my favorite part because what I've always said, but have grown to understand, we are basically we're children. We get conditioned, we grow up, and then when you grow up and you become this quote unquote adult, really what you're striving to do is not to be an adult. You're striving to be a kid again. But what I mean by that is, as a kid, the kid is free. The kid doesn't have any sense of death, doesn't have a sense of time, it doesn't have any fear. It's creative, everything is brand new, it explores, and it strives to learn. The detriment is, depending on the environment, you are put into a box. For me, I was put into a box of you have to do this, you have to look this way, this is the way life is, right? And there's a lot of good that happens within these barriers. The problem is if these barriers are set in stone versus being set in hay, it's going to be problematic for those that don't know how to climb over those walls or get beyond those barriers, right? So as an adult, if you're stuck within those walls, you then pass that on to other people, and then the way that you function in life isn't necessarily wrong. It's just you're limited to these walls that you've been put into. So for me, getting to a point for the past, it's been a little bit over a decade now of going on this journey of learning myself and what I believe, it's becoming a kid again. It's going back to my excitement for everything around me,
Hmm.
learning and looking at everything as something brand new. Even if I'm familiar or master at it, it's like, what else can it do? What does this button? That's amazing. What does this knob do? That's dope. Now, how can we put these two things together and create something brand new? What does this idea look like? Cool. What does this one look like? Let's put them together. It doesn't work. Let's find something different. Let's create a whole nother universe. So becoming a kid again with the creativity and the maturity, you know what I mean? So, I mean, granted, now I have these experiences. So it's like, well, let's jump into another dimension. Let's find another way to grow. Let's find let me become a kid again in this new way of thinking and experiencing life. That's exciting. Yeah,
I love that. That childlike mentality, unlearning the toxic traits that our
yeah,
parents had, that they never unlearned or they're barely unlearning now in this season.
that part.
Um, and I'm a parent, I'm a mother, I have two kids. So my journey is not just about my journey is about them too, because there are
Yeah,
still things that I've taught them that are ingrained in them right now that
yeah,
they need to unlearn before they go out into the world, and I feel like your statement kind of, it makes it so much more real for me.
yeah,
It sets that reality in that, yes, I want you to still maintain that childlike innocence while being able to preserve your identity and cater to your imagination, because it
yeah,
becomes your wildest dream.
yeah.
But still being realistic along the way, still
Absolutely.
being able to identify people who don't have your best interests at heart, still being able to walk in who you are
Hmm.
and set those boundaries and understand that when I set my boundaries, if somebody walks away from me, that person was not for me. That's what that growth and that part of being an adult and growing past it and growing even even further down the, ooh, I don't know if you had an opportunity to get to know your grandparents, did you?
I did, yes. Some of them. My mother's
Some.
parents, yes, and then my dad's mom. I didn't have a chance to meet or really develop a true relationship with my paternal grandfather. I spoke
Mhm.
with him a few times. Um, my biological paternal grandfather. Um, so yeah, but yes, I did for the most part.
Okay, so when you observe your grandparents, if they were like cool grandparents or they were so full of life, and a lot of African American, I'm gonna say Black grandparents are
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a feel pump you up with some sugar and send you back to your mama, but however, we're gonna have some fun. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
maintain that childhood, that childlike mentality because now they've kind of grown past some of the things that they've unlearned. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. But when you can get past the other stuff that's not that great, you see who they are and you see that they're living, their best lives in their 70s and 80s. And, so it's such a blessing. And for those of y'all who still have your grandparents, you better give them a call when you get
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
Go
That's
call
right.
them. All
Yeah.
right. No day is promised. Not a
Yeah.
single one. So understanding that when you have the opportunity to get to know who you are, that sense of self, regardless of if you have kids or not, you got to do that for yourself because
Yeah.
you become free in such a peaceful way, and sometimes we still end up in bondage to things that have happened, but you are able to operate in a way where you're not victimized or victimizing yourself. Yes, you become a victim to certain things,
Absolutely.
but you're not allowing that to be part of who you are and shift your character,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
So I I'm so proud of you. Like
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
you know, you know. Um, ooh, what's your
Mhm.
mental health check-in when you feel like, oh, this is really weighing on my soul, my spirit, and it's something that's harmful to who I am. How do you how do you get through that? Like sometimes it's hard to snap out of that, you know? Is it hard for you to snap out of it sometimes, or like what do you do?
No, to answer your question, no, it isn't necessarily hard. For me, I always go back to the square root, um, and try to understand the bigger picture, right? Especially if there's a third party or other parties involved in whatever the circumstance is. So I have definitely become much more reclusive in my adult life, where I definitely don't have a problem with like just kind of disappearing and falling off the grid and doing a hard reset. I'm perfectly fine with being in my space because I have everything to be creative and everything to recharge me. However, what I do is if there is something, if I do feel like I'm being drained, I quickly analyze it, whether it's something that I'm inflicting upon myself, whether it's something that somebody else is putting into my atmosphere. And for me, I have learned to get back to the peace, right? So if it is something that I am putting on myself, whether it's, for example, a couple years ago, I found myself overworking myself, where I felt that I just needed to do everything. I needed to take every contract that was coming my way. I needed to just work, and it came at the cost of my mental health. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't drinking enough water, and I did a hard reset to where I learned to say no. And I just sat and I thought, foot back, and I thought, what is important? What is the most important thing right now? Am I strapped for money? Do I need to feel like I'm constantly doing something? And it helped me to dig deeper into understanding my programming. That was a mentality that came from my father, right? He was at work and I always saw him constantly going, constantly moving, constantly doing, right? And it got to a point where I'm like, is that necessary for me? Is this something that is vital for me to be doing at this current moment? Or can I find peace? Is that bringing me peace or is it taking me away from it? So, yeah, if I find something isn't bringing me peace, I disconnect and I go find the peace. And if I'm unable to find peace, um, I make peace.
You
Yeah,
make peace with it, and then it becomes peaceful. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I feel like that, man,
yeah,
listen, stop telling me my life story. Okay? I don't appreciate that.
you know,
I don't appreciate that.
yeah.
Okay? Ooh, who currently inspires you?
Ooh,
Here in the living in the flesh, who inspires you?
here now, living in the flesh. I am inspired by. I'm inspired by myself first and foremost, above all things, unapologetically. And then I would have to say people everybody that I come across, I'm inspired by, and I find inspiration in them. Reason being is I feel that I have grown to learn through my spirituality that everybody, we're all connected. Everybody is one, right? And so through my belief, I believe that nothing is against me. So everything that I come across, everything that I encounter is truly a reflection of who I am, right? There's something to be learned. So if there's an obstacle that somebody I come in contact with is going through, there's something for me to learn through that, whether it's me helping them or a principle for me to gather to say, hey, either I've overcome that, let me help them, or this is a circumstance that I may encounter. Let me prepare myself for whatever this is to become stronger. And that, may not even necessarily be anything that is not good, even on the good. People that I see thriving and prospering, I find motivation and inspiration from that. It's like, wow, like they're doing this. Let me find a way to enhance my brand. You gave me flowers earlier. I have to do the same for you to see the way that you've grown and developed the platform, even what you're doing now, with this.
Me for real.
Talking to you, right? It's amazing because, it I don't know where it stemmed from. And this is a conversation for off air, right? But the fact that you blossomed into this beautiful butterfly, to this beautiful flower, and like you have this platform and a following, and you're doing something that you love, and it's beautiful. And for me, it's inspiration to say, let me get to that point within my journey, to grow my brand, to let me figure out what works for me, to develop a community, which, I know that I have, but it's like, how could I provide more for them to be able to engage, and so again, I find it everywhere and in all things. So,
Wow. Look, that is a conversation we're going to have offline. You ain't about to make me blush up in here. Look, first off, okay, all right, but thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I think when we did meet, I was in a season where I was working as an executive assistant to a CEO. I wasn't even content creating. I didn't have anything to do with anything that was art related.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, and by the way, I like poetry. And us starting to see that we were kind of in the same crowds here and there, but I'm in the background, you're in the foreground.
Yeah.
And gosh, like now that I'm thinking about it, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't even meet where we should have met. We met other places.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that neither. I'm not gonna get into that either. At the time, but it was online. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Because, gosh, that she like.
Yeah.
But that was when you say it, and I'm just like, it's so surreal to me to be like, I know you, and no, actually we didn't meet on SL. We met on a website that was kind of like Tinder. It was kind of like Tinder, one of those. It was a dating website. You remember that?
Yeah.
Look, do you remember that? But yeah, so no, it really wasn't. I would have just said SL. I'm not but people who know me know that I just don't do dating websites and don't do dating apps. I refuse. I rebuke it. I just refuse. But yeah, it was just like one of those, I'm gonna put myself out there, and I ended up meeting John, and even back then morality for both of us was kind of like one of those kind of things. So when you go on those dating websites, people have like this expectation, or they put a false perception of themselves out there, and then want to get you. I got you, bitch. One of those kind of things, man. But John was very John was very much I'm just trying to be your friend. Can you slow down, Miss Lady? I was the aggressor. I'm ashamed, but not really. I mean, no, but still, just yeah, just like maintaining the personality there, and understanding that you've always had a great character. You've always had where you set your boundaries and you were very clear about your intentions and you were very clear about your executables and what you were willing to tolerate and what you weren't willing to tolerate. And in that season, and then still seeing you around and being like, oh, well, I know him too. I know her too. And you're just like, where the hell you come from? How are you even here? Huh? How you know this person? I know this person. You know, it was a very interesting. You would have thought that had I not had pictures, had I not had a Facebook, I probably would have looked at me crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you here? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I come here all the time, but it would be on days that you wouldn't go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was just like we would always cross paths, and it would never be right. It would never align. It would never work out. It would just whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever. So, hi community. I'm blushing now. Forget it. Whatever.
No judgment.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheesh. It was a smaller time. But still being larger than life when it came to personality, and you definitely have always been a personality that when people see you, they're like, okay, he's probably a dad. He probably this and that. You know what I'm saying? And then when you open your mouth, and they're just like, hold on, God.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Man.
There's so much more. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk about it next week. Let's see. What is the last book that you read?
The last book of the current.
The last book that you finished.
The last book that I finished was called the 11 Laws of God, and it was introduced to me by, I can call him a friend. He works at a business that I frequent quite often just to get my essential self-care products and everything here in LA. And he told me about the book. He said, have you ever heard of this book, and blah, blah, blah. And it was amazing because the conversation happened during the beginning of my new spiritual journey that I've been on for going on 2 years now. And it was really a quest to get back to peace because I found myself outside of myself. And so getting back to peace. He introduced me to this book, and the book breaks down 11 laws that coincide with our existence, primarily as Black people, getting back to our core, which is peace, and everything deriving from that core, which is peace. And so, so much so to where I got it tattooed on my arm and everything.
Wow.
The 11 principles, 11 laws. And it's an amazing book, definitely a very transformative book.
You gotta link me in text. Gotta text me the link. I'm definitely gonna pick that up. So.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. And it's helped me to understand what I've always understood. I know that makes sense to those that it makes sense to. But I feel as though that there's things that we know and that we understand and have a grasp of, but maybe don't fully see how large that universe is within that understanding. So for me, there were several moments where I had to stop reading the book, put it to the side, and just fully absorb what it was that I had read and process it to say, damn, I've been saying this for 10 years now. And I know I've been saying it for this long because Facebook reminds me.
Facts.
Facebook
Thank you,
reminded
Facebook,
me
for
that
the memories.
the memory, I go on the memories and it's like, you posted this 10 years ago. And I said, blank. Well, damn,
Right.
I literally just read this passage today. And here it is. It reminds me that I said this 10 years ago, 12 years, 8 years, 7 years ago. I said this. And so I've always understood this, but didn't understand it the way that I understand it now. Right. And so that book definitely helped to open up a whole nother level of understanding of itself. So again, my art, The 11 Laws of God is what the book is called.
I love that. So I'll be looking for that link. I'll definitely put it in the Discord for you guys, and it'll be on the blog as well, because I am going to add that to my reading list. And there have been quite a few books that have come across my desk the last maybe about a week and a half that are similar, very similar, very similar. So I love being able to channel that, and I feel like we as a people, we have two sides. We have more than two sides, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So we have two sides when it comes to being reminded of something, okay? And it's the I'm a badass little kid, or oh, thank you so much for reminding me. So
Right.
in our gratitude, it's I needed that reminder because my heart is open and it's full, and I want to fill it even more.
Yeah.
Because now it becomes excess and overflow.
Yeah.
But when we know we ain't doing what we're supposed to do, it's the badass little kid like, God, you ain't got to say it so many times. I already know.
Right.
Jeez,
Right.
you know? So when we start operating as this bad little kid because we know there are things about us that we need to change. There are things about us that we have to redress that we already understand are part of our paradigm. They're part of who we are. They're part of our foundation, our character. But we're not walking in our power. We're not walking in our presence. We're not walking in the now.
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. Don't tell me shit. God, you are getting on my nerves.
Which is
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
What I've learned is that there's also a cosmic order.
Yeah.
There's a
And it's
cosmic order.
balance.
It's the universe. It's, you know, whatever you believe and subscribe to. It's God. It's all of those things that are drawing us back together. It's an energy that literally is pulling itself back together. You know, that's what I've learned. And so when we get off of the natural cosmic order of our course, cosmic order pushes us right back into line. You know, and the more that we try to push and say, no, I want to do things this way, that cosmic order will guide us back into this is where it's supposed to be. As long as you stay here, things will flow the way that it's supposed to flow. It's not going to always look the way you want to, feel the way you want it to, but you're supposed to learn during those turbulent times.
And see, and I think that's where the relevancy comes in when you're talking about that small path, you know, and it's the path that not everybody walks. It's the path that when you have a misstep or you sidestep off of that, even though it's a little side road, it comes right back. It just circles right back into it. The path is this way, you know, and God has this way of, as those little kinks and turns come in, he's making that straight. He's making it where you can see further down that path, and you can see, you know, past the horizon. You know, so it might just be that you're deviating from it a little bit, but you're still winding right back into it.
And the thing is that I believe the universe will always give you a reminder in ways that you may not necessarily understand at the moment. And I had to learn that there were times and moments where a random person would say something, or there would be something that I didn't understand at that time that would happen. And that was the universe saying, no, go back over there. You don't. This ain't for you. You don't belong. You're above this. Go back over there. You're
Mm-hmm.
greater than where you're trying to go. Where you think you should be. Go back over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just up to us to listen intently to those very specific and keen elements and moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's confirmation that even if we want to go in a certain direction, there's confirmation that will come to say, yeah, you're supposed to go there, but not yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it can come in the form of a random stranger, it can come in the form of a loved one, it can come in the form of, I'll save that for off air, but it comes in many different forms,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and it's just up to us to learn and understand, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where we're supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Do you feel like there are things that made you feel like you wanted to do something else in your life?
Yes, but yes, it was driven by emotion.
Mm.
It was driven by discouragement, disappointment, doubt, uh, a level of fear. Uh, it was never a unique thought. It was always a programmed thought, though. Um, Simply because, I mean, my voice has been deep since I was 12. And so I feel like I have a very unique calling um, to use my voice at whatever capacity that may be. When I was younger, because my dad was a pastor, superintendent, a lot of people felt it necessary to tell me that I was going to follow in his footsteps, right?
Mm.
And in a sense, I have. It's just not in the traditional form that he did. Like, I'm not in a building standing behind a pulpit preaching, a
Right.
specific vision, right? It's me being in the world using my voice to speak life into people, you know. And so the discouragement came because I didn't see, or I chose not to see my destination the way that I needed to see it.
Mm.
I was still seeing it the way that other people wanted me to see it. So therefore, I wasn't prospering and I was becoming discouraged. And it wasn't until I began to look through my own lens and say, oh, success looks like this for me. Wealth looks like this for me.
Mm.
This is where I can be. I don't need to try to take a huge ass bite out of the entire universe. I could just take small little morsels here and there and allow that to spread. Here we go. You
All
know,
right.
and it's been an amazing journey. I wouldn't change my life for anything. I would live this life in eternity times over because it's been a beautiful journey with everything that's good and the things that had to be made good. Everything has been made. So,
I I love that for you.
thank you.
I love it. I love it. I feel like more the more I see people walking in that and embracing that, this is, even though I wanted to do XYZ, this is something that I actually want to do, and I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And do you feel like because you feel like that, you have some secrets you want to say, some surprises, some things that are down the line you want to share, some things you want to share down the line, you know? Hmm.
Um, Let me see. Yeah, I am in the process of uh, building my website, which is going to offer a plethora of amazing things. So some of those things are going to be voice work, everything from personalized messages to daily affirmations to you name it. It's going to come in the form of music. I'm currently working on a WaveCapJohnny musical album that is going to be. Imagine if Barry White were to sing a song like Ty Dolla $ign or Eric Bellinger or Tank, right? Yeah. So Ratchet Barry White, if you will.
Okay. Not a ratchet Barry White. But I could see it. I could see the vision. I could see where it matches.
Yeah. So ultimately, what it is, it's WaveCapJohnny is ultimately, as far as the music is concerned, a space for women to feel protected, to feel safe, but to also receive all of the energy that they desire without the predatory presence. So, and you see that within the daily calendar that I do. It's me taking advantage of my gift of having a deep voice and my energy to tell a woman, first of all, call a woman a pet name that is food, to call a woman a Rice Krispie treat or pistachio macaroon, right? And follow that with you're sexy, you're sexy, right? A woman wants to hear that. What she doesn't want is the typical things that we see in society that follow. So I want to be able to create an album that allows a woman to hear it, feel sexy, get those very white, sexy vibes, but then also feel comfortable to say, you know what, I can be liberated within how I feel, how I think, etc. Really just try to change the zeitgeist. So that's that. Releasing merchandise, everything from socks to shirts to you name it, wave caps. And also, I think the biggest surprise is going to be a WaveCapJohnny tea bath experience, which is going to literally be something I've developed, some fragrances that I've been kind of like a mad scientist with, that is going to, the bundle is going to have a body oil, a body butter, an actual tea bath where you're going to basically take, some of the herbs and Himalayan salt, put it inside of a mesh bag and drop it inside of your bathtub. You're going to take a bath and get out and you're going to put on this WaveCapJohnny signature women fragrance, and all the while, and also maybe have like an incense, Palo Santo, sage, whatever you choose. But it's also going to come with a voice recording that is going to basically walk you through this 45-minute experience of whatever you choose to do is what you choose to do, and WaveCapJohnny approves. But it's going to be a series of affirmations and, just hearing my voice tell you that you are worthy, you are beautiful, you're sexy, keep going, whatever, any and everything. So,
I love that. I actually would love to get you and Okami thick. Look, why did my brain just go all the way to the left? Them
it's
two
good.
in the same room on look. Little mouse is just
Hey,
she working overtime right now. So some of my favorite spirits, I tell you, I am surrounded by some amazing men and some amazing women, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with myself? So we gonna go to our major key alert. What's one major key that you share with others along their journey? What would you
believe in you.
share?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you won't rely on anybody else giving you what you can give to yourself. Whether it's encouragement, love, support, all of those things. It is good to receive from other people to have that confirmation, but if you are the source, of that.
Mm-hmm.
Even on the darkest days, you'll see the brightest light. Um,
I feel that.
believe in yourself.
I feel that. I like that.
You are amazing. Your ideas matter. Believe in yourself.
Awesome. So you want to tell everybody where they can find WaveCapJohnny, where they
Yeah.
can find you as John, because you are a radio personality.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So outside of the content creator, you do create content for other people
Absolutely.
too. So,
Yes. So you can find me as WaveCap Johnny on all social media platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at WaveCap Johnny, spelled as is, no spaces, WaveCapJohnny. As Foz, John, I do have a podcast called The Kickback Show. We air new episodes weekly on Mondays at 8 p.m. You can find that on TuneIn, Track Life. We do also have our own website, thekickbackshow.com. We are also on all the social media things at The Kickback Show, spelled as is, no spaces, TheKickbackShow. And shout out to my co-stars and counterparts, Organic Blackberry, Tiana Giovanna, and DJ Swivel. Um, yeah, I would say find me on
and that's a
Facebook.
.com, right?
Hardly ever on there. Yes, it is about
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, so don't really look for it there. Yeah, I think that's WaveCapJohnny.com coming soon. So you can put that, put that in the Rolodex. Yeah.
So that's a coming soon.
It's a
To be
coming.
determined on the launch date.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Finalizing some last minute little things here and there, but definitely an amazing experience to come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Find you everywhere.
Yeah.
And I do encourage, I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody, I know we all, as millennials, we hate Facebook, but we love it at the same dang time because the memories are everything. Okay. Those reminders are everything. However, we also have the memories of when Facebook first came around, and it was literally the first social media. So we got the bad end of the stick when it came to everybody learning how to operate with
Yeah.
everything, what to post and what not to post, who to talk to, who not to talk to, who to block, who not to block. When is it okay to block?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes some people just don't understand that there's boundaries, and they have to be held to those too, regardless of how long I've known you. I'm gonna still talk to you in real life, but when it comes to being on the internet,
Hmm.
we don't have to be Facebook friends. Doesn't mean that we're not friends, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's a conversation for a whole nother day.
that
Yeah.
I probably end up just grabbing a whole bunch of us and going over social media etiquette at this point,
Yeah.
because social media etiquette when it comes to being content creators, because it's a totally different ball game when you're a content creator,
Hmm.
and knowing how to set your boundaries and knowing how to identify people who are trying to use you and use your craft or use your platform, or I can only imagine what ups and downs you've been through, because you're not only just yourself as a content creator. Like I said, you create content for other platforms and other people, and being a radio personality and a broadcaster for something else, for someone bigger than you, and you're representing that brand,
Yeah.
and not representing it as your own, but representing it for someone else. So sometimes their ideologies don't match up with who you are. How do you? Ooh, I know I was gonna wind it down, but I'm
Yeah.
throw some spice on there real quick. How do you set boundaries with your employer?
I have to have an understanding of what they're aiming for, and then understand what it is that I want.
Mm.
Then all of that dictates how I operate. Do I see myself, if it's something that is like clashing, then it's like, let me not expend too much energy trying to help you grow your brand because clearly you want to stay where you are. I'll keep these and use them elsewhere or so on and so forth. Fortunately enough, where I work, the radio station I work at Apple Music Radio, very open, very innovative as you see Apple is. Hardly ever run into any of those types of issues, when it comes to bigger picture type things. However, in the past, I've worked for terrestrial radio stations to where I would run into that. Prime example, 2006, 2007, I had introduced one of the DJs that I had worked with to a song called Super Hyphy by Keek the Sneak. This is when hyphy music was only in the Bay Area. I have family that's up there in Oakland and Sacramento and, the whole Northern Cali region. And cousin came into town, was like, yo, listen to this. I was confused by it because I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, but I felt the energy and I loved it. It's like, let me take this and put this in my atmosphere because this is something. I got pistol. Oh, I don't know if I can trust your ear, and this isn't good, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Months later, Tell Me When to Go by E40 featuring Keek the Sneak gets premiered by a good friend of mine who's also a co-worker here now, DJ Reflex, airs it, and Hyphy explodes, and the same DJ that I presented Super Hyphy to then plays that record, Super Hyphy, and acts as if he was the one that discovered it, and it's the best thing ever. And it's little things like that to where it's like, okay, I know that I have to constantly remind myself, you're not crazy. You know,
Don't I know that one? I know that one well. So.
it's like I'm not crazy. My ideas matter. My ideas are important.
Mm.
Keep going because you're not crazy.
Right.
So
Right.
it's challenging because you do run into. I mean, there's politics and everything, and you run into them in every industry, and it's just a matter of
Every
figuring
single
out how to navigate. And everybody has their ulterior motives, and they're looking, for something or someone, and it's just a matter of sticking to your motivation. Why did you get into the field that you're in? What is it that you're looking to gain? What is your vision? Are you progressing towards that goal? If so, keep going. If not, figure out another path. But always go back to why it is you're doing what it is you're doing. Do you love it? Why? Why did you get into it? And I constantly go back to that. So um, that helps me to keep my path.
keep motivated.
Yeah,
Yeah, because situations like that, I mean, I think every content creator, if you've been doing something for more than 6 months, you've experienced at least one encounter with somebody who has used you, abused you, or disrespected you in some way, shape, or form, and you have to take the bigger road. You have to,
you
because
have to.
there will be people along your road and your journey who will not mess with you because you called somebody out on hurting you.
Yeah,
And that's the hardest part.
yeah.
That's so messed
That's
up.
the toughest part. But if you believe in yourself and you love yourself and you trust yourself, none of that matters, and all of it will be like the water on a duck's back. Just flow right
Right. 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 And I love that you don't have a defeated spirit when it comes to speaking about things like that, because so many times we end up victimizing ourselves and not realizing that we triumphed past that. And now you're able to continue to build on it because of you being the bigger person in the situation
Yeah,
and still addressing it, but not from a bitter standpoint. But hey, I get it. I understand. I see you. And I
yeah,
know exactly what you're doing. And we have to operate like that, because not just because we want to thrive in the industry, but and not just also because we were black. There's already so many things stacked up against us, and we're already looked at as combative when we are like probably, I'm not gonna say probably, we are one of the most peaceful spirits on the planet. Literally the most peaceful. Hey, you feed us and you play some good music, we happy. We are happy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Which again, it's our that's our
forever forgiving and loving.
absolutely that's our core. Again, going back to what I believe, that's our zero. That's our wholeness. That's our base point is peace, and that's like yeah.
Yeah. So I will say, I'm gonna say I appreciate you,
I appreciate
and
you.
I know you're at work right now. So I want to make sure that I'm being a respecter of time, and we will talk offline
Absolutely.
in a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna be eating vegan food with you next week,
Sounds
and I guess I will kind of sort of not really show y'all what we have. Okay, all right. So, but y'all already know about to. We about to, peep the drip kind of
yeah.
thing,
Right.
and go from there. So I appreciate you. Thank you
I
so
appreciate you.
much.
Thank you so
And
much for opening your doors and having me on your platform. I really appreciate you.
it's
I
my
love to
pleasure.
see what you're doing. I love to see your growth. And thank you to your audience, your supporters, and everybody that's tuned in and listening to this. Hopefully, it has resonated with you and has helped everybody on their journey, no matter where you are in your journey. And until next time, peace,
Until
love,
next time. And thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you so much for existing in my universe with me. I will be back later.
love.
Okay.
Okay.
Later with the cosplay for y'all.
There it
Okay.
is.
She said, I like his deep voice. I could hear Day Day saying that. If you have time for some questions, I know we were saying our goodbyes, but I didn't even let them ask you questions. I was like,
Yeah.
no, you can't ask him nothing. You can have a couple of questions before we say goodbye. Y'all
Yeah.
got 7 minutes. Y'all got 7 minutes. But definitely, if you have any questions for Johnny, please make sure you ask. Oh, it feels so weird calling you Johnny. Like, Mr. WaveCap. I know him as John. I don't call him Johnny, okay? So, yeah, or Foz. So, but that's more of a formal approach out in public kind of thing. Out in public kind of thing.
Yeah.
When we're not doing ratchet hood rat shit together.
We're not doing hood rat things with our friends.
Oh, Day Day. Oh my God. I hate her. She said, "You've been in
Not
white."
not yet, but I'm hoping to get there soon, sooner than later.
Okay.
Yeah, hoping to get there. That's on my list.
It's on the list. What island are we going to?
I need to research to find out. I mean, I only know about the typical Maui, a little bit. If I'm even saying, I'm probably misspeaking. So please forgive me. Yes, please. Uh, yeah, you can hit me
You
on
know.
Instagram or
Not can I sing to you. I thought she was asking, "Can you sing?" And then I reread it. Oh my God. I cannot take her anywhere. But I was gonna ask you to perform, but I would much rather you feature next month's open mic.
Let's make that
So
happen. Yeah, let's
let's make it happen. All right. It's the third Thursday every month. Put you
let's
on the spot in front of company.
I got you. I'm with it.
I'm here for it. John actually does some amazing work, and I'm going to hurt her. He does some amazing work, and if I remember correctly, you were in a commercial or two,
Absolutely, yeah. Several.
like 5. Look, several
Yeah. It was
commercials.
Church's Chicken, McDonald's. I mentioned ESPN. commercial. McDonald's was probably the most recent. That was a couple years ago.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, I know him!
Yeah,
Ah! I'm all at home. I don't even watch TV like that. And I was just like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That was when they did the Transformers collaboration. Yeah, that was good.
And I had another friend who actually worked on that. So they
It's,
did the 3D modeling for the Transformers in that. So I was like, look at my babies. They growing up so fast. Oh, no. I see she ain't got, look, what she hurting me for? Because you are acting up, Day Day. Don't listen to her.
it's
No,
okay. It's okay to
cannot take
act.
her anywhere.
It's okay.
Okay.
To,
Yeah, but
you gotta, sometimes you gotta live in your truth.
can't take Day Day anywhere. She said, when you get here, let me know. Come to Oahu.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, that's my little play sister, and she needs to be bopped a couple of times, but she fine. I'll vouch for her being fine just because she's my sister. So, but I'm not acting up. I'm being myself. Okay, it's accurate. You still acting up. That doesn't mean anything.
Two truth
Gosh,
can
that
exist.
exactly. Can you? It can, right? Can they can? This is Day Day. She be acting up, and as she's being herself. Okay,
Right.
boom, Day Day, made as a person. But thank you guys. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate
Very-
you.
I
And I'm gonna give
appreciate
you a
it.
call.
Please do.
And she think I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm about to out her on social media. Look, let me tell you about what this thirsty girl did. But thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Thank you so much for the stars and the subs and the bits and just all of the monetary rewards you guys could possibly think of. Thank you guys so much for giving a piece of your world to my world and investing in it. So thank you so much for being a part of my universe. And please make sure you stay hydrated, stay prayed up, and always remember to water your flowers. And don't forget to always be yourself, unless you suck. And you know exactly what sucks about you, so fucking fix it, all right? I holla at y'all. We gonna get out of here. I'm about to snatch him. You got his number? Duh. Bye, Day Day. Bye, everybody. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours. Please make sure that you're following my social medias in order to get a notification, because I got a couple of things I gotta do, so I can't even put a time on when I'm gonna hit the live button again. But I will make sure that I make a post on Twitter and on Instagram. So I'll see y'all a little bit later. Bye.